Hi, everyone, and welcome to our session around 10 reasons to go paperless. My name is Jillian Eichler, and I'm a solution development executive here at Iron Mountain. For those of you who aren't familiar with Iron Mountain, we're a global leader in the information management services space. We create the framework necessary to bridge the gaps between paper, digital, media, and physical data and extract value across its lifecycle. Our goal is to help build your organizational resilience. I'm joined today by my colleague, Michael Jackson.
Thanks, Jillian. I'm Michael Jackson, Director of Digital Solution Sales for our Global Industry segment at Iron Mountain. I go by MJ. That cuts down on the king of pop jokes. But my tenure in the document and content management world goes back about 20 years. I was back in the time when we said, wouldn't it be cool if, fill in the blank, we do this with this material? Well, now many of those wishes are technical realities. So flash forward to today, my team is responsible for developing and selling the combination of people, processes, and technology within Iron Mountain's vast solution catalog to solve the digital modernization challenges of the largest of our 240,000 customers. To introduce this topic, I wanted to share some findings from a commission study. Now, don't take my word for it, take Gartner's. Gartner highlighted these key motivators in going digital. So simply, digital business transformation. How should the business use digital content and digitally enabled processes to support the line of business? Like, how does it work? How do we do work? Work modernization. And with the reality of the remote worker, can the organization enable a distributed workforce and a distributed work environment? So examples of this are sales support, marketing, knowledge management, contract management, customer service, etc. Governance. Is the company providing governance frameworks for sensitive and valuable information and content, and taking the risk and burden of governance off of that person in the chair, the knowledge worker, and putting that back into the systems of record? And then operational efficiency and cost savings. Is the organization using digital assets and processes to drive efficiency? Ultimately, costs go down, revenue goes up for the back office and front office, respectively. So to help these business priorities, we came up with 10 reasons to go paperless. Now, different organizations see different benefits from going paperless, depending on their industry, product mix, market, customer base, and other unique characteristics. Here are 10 of the most common reasons to go paperless, and I'll read these very quickly and then we'll mill into them over the remainder of our 30 minutes together. So the first one, decrease the time spent searching for information. Number 2, free up physical space. 3, increase resiliency in the business around the information assets. 4, enhance security of documents and content. 5, improve the customer experience. 6, enable remote work. 7, encourage collaboration. 8, streamline workflows. 9, become more environmentally friendly, start hitting those ESG metrics. And number 10, lower costs. On the other side of that coin is increased revenue. So Jillian, did I hit them all?
Yep, you're batting 1,000.
All right, good. So by now, most organizations have started to modernize through paperless processes. So maybe paper light is a more apropos term. And so why can I say this? Well, we see plenty of paper still coming into Iron Mountain. Paper continues to play a big role in most organizations. So consider these points. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, global paper consumption has quadrupled in the past 40 years. In the United States, each person uses more than 700 pounds of paper every year. A typical office worker consumes approximately 10,000 sheets of paper every year. About 45% of the pages that get printed in an office are thrown away before the end of the day. And paper is 23% of the waste in US landfills. And half of all of that business waste is paper. Jillian, is this a surprise?
Hey, it seems counterintuitive, but yeah, I'm definitely not shocked.
Yeah. So why is this? Why is all this paper still in existence, even with cloud, iPhone, Neuralink, kiosk-enabled world that we live in? Well, old paper files continue to exist. They continue to be retained. And digitizing these might be a daunting effort to undertake. So classic things where we see that paper still in existence, forms. I don't remember the last time I left the DMV office or a doctor's office without filling something out and getting a hand cramp. Many organizations have forms that require employee or customer signatures, and transitioning to a digital process requires a change to the status quo, and it requires investments in technology. So the reality is organizations continue to use paper because that's how we've always done it. We like the way it feels in our hands. It's easier to look at when we're on the bus or the train or the plane, right? And it's tough to break inertia. So what's the saying at the gym, Jillian?
Think it's no pain, no gain?
Yeah, that's the one. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's the best. So when you do the math, the business benefits of going paperless are overwhelming.
So let's start with number one, spending less time hunting down information. Time is money. We all know that phrase, but when talented knowledge workers are hunting down information, every second that they're taken out of their job is dollars spent doing menial tasks. This stat from Forbes show that office workers spend around 7 to 12 hours per week searching for info. Adding in that time to govern, prep, and possibly even duplicate work done by another person, they waste around 20 hours per week.
Yeah, 50% of the time. Wow. I mean, that jives with other studies I've seen over the years. On the low side, it's nearly an hour a day for an average knowledge worker, just gone.
Right. And just scanning everything isn't going to solve any of these problems. The functionality to be able to search through documents simply by typing a phrase helps you find what you need quickly. And implementing OCR technology and advanced search capabilities is crucial to efficiency.
Right. There's a critical distinction in there between searching for information and finding information, right? And I think we can all agree that highly paid skilled workers could use this time better than getting paper cuts and standing around a file cabinet. The Gartner motivators called out workers driving down costs and driving revenue up, right? That's the most important thing. And that's where folks need to be spending their time.
Number two, free up physical space. Do you remember having your very own CD collection and being so proud of the lineup that you've cultivated? Do you also remember the second that you realized that your CD collection could fit merely into your pocket? Paper records are no different, and research has shown that digital storage is more than 40 times more efficient than filing cabinets in terms of physical space saved. Whenever I'm walking into a data center, it's really hard to believe that there can be exabytes of data sitting on what look like pizza boxes stacked on top of one another. And while I may be hungry, they are definitely servers. In this day and age, data is king and the number one asset for most organizations. Technology is there to ensure that digital storage can be easily managed and with very, very little space.
Yeah. And even before COVID, you talk about the square footage, right? Even before COVID, organizations were looking to compress real estate and associated costs. I worked with many law firms just as examples that were trying to exit entire floors from expensive downtown high rises. And that was before COVID, right? And with remote work during and post COVID, that impact has definitely cemented the real estate reduction phenomenon.
Right. And according to research from CBRE, more than half of companies plan to shrink their physical footprint between 2022 and 2025. Reducing paper and getting rid of filing cabinets is one way to make that process easier and help organizations trim their budgets. Number three, increase resiliency. You likely have a disaster recovery plan, including multiple storage locations for your digital records, but what about your paper files? If a fire, flood, earthquake wiped out all of your paper archives, would your business be able to survive? When COVID happened, many organizations practically overnight were tasked to move their entire organization to remote work. Before the pandemic, fewer than 6% of people in the United States worked primarily from home. And the companies that were already implementing digital transformation products were able to make this transition much more smoothly than organizations that hadn't. And while I certainly hope that we never experience another pandemic, emergency events are always a possibility.
Yeah, it's a real and a serious concern, Jillian, whether that's a catastrophic climatic event or a pandemic. I read a recent stat from New Era Tech that 94% of companies that experience severe data loss do not recover. 51% of these companies close within 2 years of the data loss. 43% of the companies never reopen. And 70% of small firms go out of business within a year of a large data loss incident. Again, either a climatic event, catastrophic event, or just not being able to get into the building because of a pandemic.
Number 4, increase security. Because we hear so often about cybersecurity risks, it can be really easy to overlook the potential risk caused by paper and printed documents. For example, while you can restrict access to a digital document using your organization's role-based access control software, any employee with access to a filing cabinet will be able to easily access any document that's stored inside of it. In addition, once someone's taken a piece of paper out of a filing cabinet, you really have no way to track what happens to it. They could copy it, take a photo, or send it really anywhere that they wish, and they could easily destroy it, which could be super costly if the document is important to operations or requires retention by law. Even if an employee doesn't intentionally destroy a document, they may easily lose it. By one estimate, the average organization loses around 7.5% of its paper documents each year. And at a large company, that can mean losing a document every 12 seconds.
Yeah. To put a fine point on that, it can cost $125 to find a misfiled document, or between $350 and $700 per document that's never found. So obviously security is not 100% guaranteed. Companies still need to take proper precautions and properly invest in security and establish the right policies. Nevertheless, digital documentation and digital content is easier to control, track, and audit the access and use thereof.
Number 5, improve the customer experience. From the customer's perspective, a paper-based process tends to be slower and less accurate than a digital process. And if anything goes wrong, it's much harder to track down paper records than digital ones. For example, I think about going to my doctor's office and filling out paper intake forms. I need to sit there, fill it out, and hand it back to an office worker. And while the staff puts all of my handwritten information into what could be multiple systems, and I have pretty bad handwriting. They then need to verify my insurance and payments, and it could take so much more time. And more recently, when I've gone to the doctor, everything can be done ahead of time. I've been able to ensure that my information's correct, so that way I don't have any kind of hassles after my appointment is finished. And even if the staff can simply scan the paper forms and use optical character recognition technology to extract the pertinent information, it can really speed up things considerably. Patients won't have to wait on the front office staff and instead can see a provider as soon as one is available.
Yeah. And this situation isn't unique to healthcare. Similar issues plague other industries that rely on paper processes. By digitizing their workflows, organizations can give their customers, both internal and external customers, or in this case, patients, a faster and more streamlined experience.
Number 6, enable remote work. 65% of people said that if they could work from home all the time, they would. And wanting to have a flexible work schedule like remote work is the third most common reasons why people leave one job and look for a new one. The pandemic changed potential employees' expectations around remote work. And when they were forced to work from home, a lot of people really enjoyed it. And many say they just do not want to go back.
Yeah, this is absolutely the case. And I can attest to this as a hiring manager. Competition for talent remains fierce in all industries. And right now, the unemployment rate is around 3.4%. And today's employees really demand modern digital experiences with seamless access to and the use of information that's critical in their tasks and their job success. There's no question.
right? But it can be really difficult or even impossible to work remotely if your job relies on paper forms. And most organizations don't want employees taking paperwork home, especially documents that are sensitive in any way. And by implementing paperless processes, it can enable flexible work styles and improve your ability to recruit top talent. Number 7, encourage collaboration. MJ and I work together on this webinar in 2 different states and in 2 different time zones, which is absolutely crazy to me if you think about it. This would not have been possible if we relied on paper-based processes.
And there is a distinction between active collaboration and using historically digitized information, right? So for Jillian and me, in our regular day job taking care of customers, we might be co-creating a presentation electronically while referencing T's and C's, terms and conditions, and service agreements and service levels that are found in governing documents in a PDF that 5 years ago may have sat in a file cabinet somewhere 1,500 miles away. So this is critical access for us.
Right. And a comprehensive information management solution provides opportunities for employees in all locations to comment on and edit the same documents. It makes it easier to share files and ensure that only people who should have access to a particular document actually do have access to that document. This makes finding, sending, reviewing, and editing all so much easier. And when offices choose to go paperless, it makes it so much more likely that employees will collaborate, and ultimately it'll yield a better work product. Number 8, streamline workflows. Digitizing processes is the first step to smoothing out bottlenecks and getting data exactly where organizations need it when they need it. Many companies struggle with siloed processes and single-purpose software. In the worst cases, companies may need to type data from paper forms into multiple systems in order to get it everywhere that it needs to go. They may waste hours a day redoing work unnecessarily, and God knows how long it can set them back if they made a mistake the first time.
Very true statement. HCMs, HR apps is a quick example. There is rarely, if ever, an enterprise application that can be written and configured to account for every situation and every exception. A key area that I see over and over in the global industry space is how we fill the gaps in between enterprise applications. So you got PDFs are in somebody's shared drive or somebody else's C drive, email correspondence in one person's email inbox, a position report tied to a work comp claim, a wage garnishment from the court. There aren't modules for those. So what we see is workers doing workarounds. The workarounds certainly exist, turning expensive enterprise applications into what I call Franken systems.
Number 9, become more environmentally friendly. So does your organization have an ESG initiative in place? 88% of public and 70% of companies do. And 90% of business leaders believe that it's important for organizations to become more sustainable. That's from an MIT Sloan Management Review article. Going paperless can help organizations meet their ESG goals. According to the EPA, paper and paperboard products make up around 23% of total generation of waste. Office paper is a huge contributor to that paper and paperboard waste. If you look at the stat by AIM, our greenhouse gas emissions could fall by 1.45 million metric tons if we cut office paper use by just 10%. This is the equivalent of taking 28,000 cars off the road for 1 year. Number 10, lower costs. Paper-based processes are expensive, adding up the cost for paper, toner, ink, and any printing services. In the US alone, that can total more than $120 billion per year. So adding in the cost of filing cabinets, floor space, and the cost to hire employees all add to the bottom line. Those costs don't mitigate the inefficiencies created by paper as well. Those wasted hours that employees spend managing, filing, and searching for paper documents add up really quickly. And there are definitely harder to quantify costs caused by lack of effective collaboration or customers who just get irritated with inefficient processes.
Yeah, it all adds up, doesn't it? In all, companies can spend as much as 15% of their annual revenue on the management of inefficient paper-based processes.
Right? And every step that's taken to move paperless can help reduce expenses and make you more profitable.
So why hasn't everyone flown 100% headlong into a digital revolution? Well, digital transformation isn't polar. It's not all or nothing. It's a continuum. And you can't just flip a switch, no matter how much we'd like to. But to get to a utopic state, it will take time, effort, and in my opinion, very willful prioritization. Many companies aren't sure where or how to start, and that can be easily overwhelming. As my dad would say, like a short dog in tall grass, you can't see which way to go, but you know you need to pick a direction and start heading that way. So to make things easier, Iron Mountain put together a digitization checklist that outlines 5 steps that will help you get ready to go paperless or paper light. So first of all, get your house in order. Having an understanding of what you have in storage can help you make decisions around what is needed and what can be destroyed. So that might be in archives, it might be in file cabinets, it might be paper that used to sit on your desktop. Right? Choose a starting point. We all need to start somewhere, and some projects will have a bigger impact than others. Prioritize by choosing a project that will generate noticeable results. A quick win. We've all heard that term, right? We are aiming for the project that maximizes returns to increase the momentum for other digitization projects and initiatives. Define success. So what is the ultimate goal that you'd like to see? Make sure that that definition of success is meaningful, achievable, and measurable. Tracking key metrics will allow you to demonstrate success and identify potential areas for improving the next subsequent phases of your digitization journey. The fourth one, build a business case. You're going to have to probably get some investment or find ways of repurposing funds. So to get executive buy-in, you'll need to understand what the costs are, and you'll need the numbers to back up your argument. The reasons in this white paper can serve as a starting point, but make sure you do your research and apply the principles and the math to your specific organization. You'll have a better chance of receiving approval for your paperless project if you align the specific goals of your project with the broader business goals of your organization. And lastly, put together a team. Don't do it alone. So for best results, assemble a cross-functional team with stakeholders from all the groups that will be affected by the digitization project. You'll need to get their buy-in. Make sure that you have a mix of departmental leaders and working level folks who will run the project. Include IT, legal, operations, and anyone else who will play a major role. You really need this to develop a solid foundation to increase the program's success. And so for more information, including tips and best practices, check out Iron Mountain's Go Paperless Guide. It includes more white papers, infographics, customer success stories, and more. So I want to give you a few concepts of starting points just to help focus or narrow your direction. And my team sees these on a daily basis. Iron Mountain digital solutions experts like myself and Jillian can help you define the impacts and help you pick some directions, but here's a few as examples. Convert physical mail to digital. Well, this is a simple concept, right? Companies are shedding corporate real estate and workers are often remote. So who does what with an envelope? Customers can digitize physical mail or have Iron Mountain pick up and digitize that mail using optical character recognition or OCR, and then accurately and automatically electronically routing that information to the right employee, regardless of where that person may sit today, tomorrow, anywhere in the world. Connect data across platforms. I'm sure in all of our daily lives in business, we're searching for information that we need to have to do our task, and that's in some silo somewhere. Integration with existing business systems allows you to connect data across enterprise platform and break down those silos. This is about filling in gaps and generating connective tissues through different data stores to allow that information to flow between systems, processes, and people doing real work. Third one, enable anytime, anywhere access. Users can easily search and find and access, say, personnel files, as an example. Documents on Iron Mountain secure enterprise content management and services platform is one way of handling that. And that's a single repository that can connect multiple applications in your environment. Protect the business, as we talk about governance. Auditable chain of custody, secure storage, data encryption, access restrictions, and role-based permissions keep data safe. Our content platform complies with industry standard and provides auditing, tracking, and reporting capabilities to help organizations maintain that critical compliance layer. And you want to manage the entire life cycle of information, the beginning, the creation of content, all the way to the flow and its disposition towards the end of its life cycle. Iron Mountain can handle that from storage, shredding, digitization, archiving, or even sending it back home to wherever your folks sit. Iron Mountain partners with market-leading hyperscalers and development teams. We understand that many companies have key relationships and cloud strategies and multi-cloud types of environments. Now, we can dovetail our solutions along with major cloud providers to make the most of your committed spend dollars. AWS, for example, Iron Mountain partners with AWS to bring to bear components of what you've seen today. And AWS can help accelerate your journey from physical to digital to cloud at petabyte scale.
In the PDF copy of this presentation, there are very helpful resource links. Remember that your Iron Mountain account team is here to help craft a vision and a plan. To wrap up today, our teams are determined to collaborate with you. Let us help you securely access and store your information. Find what you need when you need it. Automate your workflows for improved collaboration and unlock insights with our secure content services platform. Thank you so much for your time today, and please reach out to your Iron Mountain representative for more information.
Thank you.